It's week 16, day 107 of my full-time chronic pain rehabilitation journey. I'm Jason, and today I'm going to encourage you to distrust your own mind, to develop a healthy skepticism about the stories you tell yourself about you. First, though, a quick status update. I'm really tired today, and I'm not even going to try to hide it. I keep wanting to be energetic when I make these videos, but I am honestly just dragging my butt behind me, and so I feel like it's not worth the effort today. I'm struggling with sleep still. I'm tired. I had an incident at the gym where I actually wept. This has happened about once a week now. It's happening with more increasing frequency, and I know why. It's because I am literally pushing myself the hardest I ever have in my entire life. I am doing what I said I would do. I'm giving my all, and I get to a point where I literally break down. And because I've exerted so much effort. And this is new to me. Like, I'm not used to crossing this boundary, and I seem to be crossing it with increasing frequency. What's exciting is that I'm even hitting the boundary. I haven't hit it before. And so the fact that I even get to this point where I'm pushing myself so hard that I fall apart is a huge milestone and a victory for me, because it means I can do more than I ever thought I would be able to do. I told my work that I will be returning probably in July or August. That's a little over from 1 to 2 months from now. It kind of depends on how the next 3 weeks play out, because again, my sleep needs to regulate, and I need to be able to manage the manipulations my physical therapist is doing on my back. It needs to settle down into kind of a calmer state for me to go back, and we'll just have to see if that happens in the next 2 to 3 weeks. If it doesn't, I told them I'm going to take another month. This is the first time in my life I've put myself first, and I think it's the right thing to do because I need it really, really bad. On to the topic of the day, which is distrust your own mind. Now, I'm not asking you to distrust everything. There is such a thing as the law of gravity. There is an external world out there, and it will hurt you if you don't obey certain laws, so don't take this too far. But specifically, I want you to distrust a certain class of things, and that is specifically the pathological stories you tell yourself about you. So for example, I don't distrust that my daughter is beautiful. I don't distrust the love that I have for my family. I don't distrust the beauty of nature. Those are the kind of things I just kind of set aside. I'm like, yeah, I think I've got those pretty much right, and have a good sense of what's real there. But when it comes to stories I tell myself about me, I found that there's a lot to distrust, and it's taken some practice to see it, but now I see it really clearly. And the hallmarks of the pathological story are few, if any, redeeming qualities are given to the protagonist. In fact, the story probably doesn't even have a protagonist, right? Just an antagonist. This sorry son of a bitch that's good for nothing. And if that's you, you're probably telling yourself a pathological story. And I've noticed that they just have a quality of being very harsh and really unforgiving, and present this person, you, as unredeemable. So if you find yourself telling yourself one of these stories or having these sorts of thoughts, that's a good time to distrust your own mind. What makes this so hard is there's a stream of consciousness running through you. And if you're caught up in this stream, it's more like a river of consciousness actually, you will get swept away in it. Whatever emotion you're feeling feels entirely real. Whatever thoughts you're having feel entirely real, and you can't differentiate between them and what the real world might be. And you have to find a way to get out of the river and step onto the bank to look at everything going by, so you're not immersed in it and essentially drowning in emotion and thoughts that are pathological. And once you can do this, you will start to get a more objective view about you. And one way that I've done this is through meditation. I realized through meditation that there is part of me that can kind of sit back and watch the show and not necessarily be part of the show. I mean, I'm still always a little bit a part of it. I still feel whatever I'm feeling. For example, in the cold tub, I feel the cold, but I can remove myself just enough to become an observer of my own mind. And when I do that, I'm able to step back and question the narratives that I tell myself about me. And if I'm not in that position, I can't, because I'm swept away in the emotion and thoughts. It's just too much. The current's too strong. I get taken away. There are ways that you can challenge the stories you tell yourself about you once you're on the bank by the river. Ask yourself, are they accurate? You know, what facts are being omitted? What inconvenient truths are you leaving out of the story? Is there another equally true or more compellingly true narrative that you might be able to tell? Use your imagination and think up one. I've done this. And what would an impartial observer tell you about you, as opposed to what you're telling yourself about you? And if there's a huge difference between those two things, you can then know that you do not have cause to trust your own mind when it comes to the stories you tell yourself. I have an example of this. It's a very personal example, but it's perfect. So I have, on 3 occasions, voluntarily self-admitted to a mental institution. The old story I told myself about this fact of my life is that I was irredeemably broken. There was something permanently wrong with my mind, that it couldn't be fixed, and that I was kind of doomed to repeat this cycle over and over again, possibly for the rest of my life, and that I'd have to walk around with this chip on my shoulder, not a good chip, a chip that weighed a lot, that made me feel like a piece of crap. That's the story that I had to challenge, and here's some of the facts that I brought to bear, some alternative interpretations that to me seem even way more credible than what I was saying to myself in my own mind. Minds can be healed. I know this because I'm experiencing it personally. There are therapies out there, including psychedelics, which can fundamentally alter your mind and put it back in the right place, so that you'll never have to go to a mental institution again, or possibly even be in therapy again. It's just a fact. I know it's true. I didn't know that when I first started, but I know now that it's true. The second is that it takes a lot of courage to self-admit to a mental institution, meaning you voluntarily put yourself there, which means you had the wherewithal to recognize something was wrong, seriously wrong, and take action. I remember one time when my son came to visit me, and I felt so embarrassed that I was even there. I felt awful. I didn't want him to see me like that. And then I went to chronic pain coping group. Someone told me that I'd set a good example for my son because I did something courageous, which was to get help when I needed it. And he now knows that it's okay to get help. He doesn't have to go to a bottle or drugs or something else to get the help that he needs whenever he needs it. And it's okay to be flawed as a human being and need assistance. It doesn't say anything bad about you that you do. The only thing that could be said that would be bad about you is if you don't seek it. And even if you do turn to the bottle or drugs, if you turn away from them, there's a story there. There's a courageous story to tell to yourself and to others, and possibly your children, that you had the courage to do what was needed. I didn't plan on crying today, but I did. It's okay. Fight? Fighting for your life means fighting for your mind. Distrust the suspect stories you tell yourself about you. If you find my videos helpful, please pass them along and don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, keep fighting for your life.